Mm, 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 mm. Hello, guys. How you guys doing? There's nobody here, so I guess I'll just work on um, how I look on this thing. Damn, man, I'm way past my glory days. Way past my glory days. I'm way past my glory days. Um, okay, so what I wanted to this live chat up. I mean, first of all, I just wanted to test like what's the vibe here. I just wanted to test like what's it like or what the setup is like and whatnot. And hopefully maybe gain a couple of subscribers as well, you know, to follow my journey. So yeah, what do I do? Well, what I do is I I run an influencer marketing agency, right? So I connect brands to influencers. So that's my thing. Brands to influencers. That's how I move. And that's basically the whole business. It's really not reinventing the wheel. It's not like crazy and stuff like that. But I'm at it every single day. A little bit of work every single day, right? And sometimes a lot of work every single day. But what's more important is consistency over like the horizon, consistency over like a much greater period of time. Yeah. So I'm here because, well, I've been resisting this for a while as well. Like I found, why I'm using resistance so much all of a sudden is because of this book that I've been reading from, I forgot his name. It's one author that usually I remember the author's names on the books that I read, but on this particular one, I forgot his name. I think it's Stephen of sorts. Yeah. So he has a book called The War of Art. It's a great book. And he systematically goes in depth in terms of like what um, it means basically to wake up, to live this world and live in this life, right? You always have some sort of resistance, right? There's always some sort of resistance that's always stopping you from becoming the person that you want to be. There's something that's always working against you, right? And most of the time it's internal, right? It can also be external, obviously, but lots of the times it's more internal, right? So he mentions all forms of resistance, like lust is a big form of resistance. And I mean, obviously, that's the biggest one I struggle with, right? I'm here, like literally, I had to combat it the whole day. I had to combat it the whole day, the urge to like do that. Because the urge is so great, especially like as you're an introvert, you got internet, you live alone, and you live in the hood. Like, I don't really have much friends here, so in all likelihood, I'm gonna go down that path sooner or later. I'm gonna, do something to distract myself of the things, right? But that's the primary function of this resistance, as he calls it, right? As it's like it's very impartial, right? So as the author describes it, it's a force of nature. It's a force of nature. So and the greater the cause, the greater the thing that you're trying to achieve, the greater the resistance that comes with it, right? So let's say, for example, like I said to myself way back, I don't know if this is still true now, but I would still like it to be. I wanted to be a billionaire, right? So I told myself this, right? And obviously, if you set a goal that high, that's just a financial goal, right? But if you think about how many people's lives you reach, that's just another way of looking at it as well. Like how many people you reach, or how many people you service with your business, and how many lives or you impact or change in whatever such. So the higher the good, the higher like the impact, the greater the resistance. You know what I mean? And I think it did kind of help me sort of like learn my like why this thing is, because the way he describes it like it's a very impartial force, right? So his primary function is to literally stop you from becoming the person that you are supposed to be. That's the primary function of this resistance, right? It comes in the form of, right? Because they say resistance, like as a Christian, obviously you know it's the enemy, it's the devil, the evil one, right? And he's responsible for basically temptations and all of these things, right? That's his job, right? So are you gonna hate the evil one for just doing his job? No, not gonna hate him, but that's just his thing. But obviously, you know, you cannot, surrender or give in to that thing, right? So it's not a personal thing. That's the message he's trying to say, right? So that's why he calls it resistance in general, right? So because it encompasses whatever form of religious belief you are, any effort or attempt to improve yourself in any meaningful way, there isn't a malignant force. It's very malignant force that will come to stop you from doing that. That's the primary function. It is there whether you like it or not, right? So he says it attacks the moment you wake up, the moment you open your eyes, it's already there. It's telling you don't get out of bed. It's telling you don't go out there, don't do anything, right? It's replaying all of these old things that happened in the past, you know. It's showing you all of these things, like you're seeing all of these things that happened in the past. You like they keep resurfacing, they keep resurfacing, they keep resurfacing, and in an attempt to stop you from doing what you're supposed to do right now, focusing on what's important right now and your actions and stuff like that, right? So that's its primary function, is to basically derail you from doing your job, what you're supposed to do, right? Or this thing, or your calling, let's say, or your passion, or these things that you're passionate about, or your job. It doesn't even have to be your job, what has to be done. It stops you from doing the stuff that has to be done by throwing all sorts of distractions along your way, whether it's just mindlessly scrolling on social media. That's also a bad thing. Whether it's pursuing money for its own sake, can also be considered a bad thing. Not necessarily though. I mean, like we have bills to pay. I could argue that one. Like I think working for money is a noble pursuit still, because money, everything in this world is money, right? So I would argue with that logic. But there are a lot of things that its primary function is to remove you from. So understanding this, it kind of does help us combat it in a way, right? It helps us see like how we can sort of navigate this terrain thing. So I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression here. I mean, the reason why I position myself in this way as like a teacher or whatever, right? Is because what's the best way to learn? The best way to learn about something is to actually teach, right? I remember a couple of years ago, I was doing this course sales thing. Well, it wasn't a course; it was a job. It was a sales thing, right? We would huddle up in the mornings, right, and we will teach each other, like the tactics or the methods or techniques you would use in order to get someone to say yes to buying whatever the thing we were selling at the time, right? And so we will teach each other, right? So basically, that's how I'm positioning myself here as well. It's like, listen, you teach me, I teach you. Let's teach each other. I'm not here. I'm not here to like to spread fake news or like be a false teacher of the gospel and things like that, guys. I am a Christian, and as much as I can, I'll try to not do too much religious content. But I am a Christian. The fact remains. You know what I mean? So I will talk about it one way or the other. But essentially, man, I'm an entrepreneur as well. Although, yes, the other thing I want to discuss is our jobs and these things that we do, or artists, this thing that you do. Now, remember in high school, um, you know, it seemed like a good idea, but now looking back in hindsight and the things that I know, it was a really bad idea. Honestly, it kind of makes sense as to why I kind of was, a failure for the vast majority of my life before this. I mean, yeah, now I'm working on improving certain things, but a lot of times I was failing in a lot of things just because my mindset was not on something. the mindset wasn't there, right? Like can say I was deceiving myself, right? So, or taking information from the wrong places, because sometimes you take information from the wrong places and that will lead you astray. So people were talking about how, um, you know, if you're if you have a job or this thing that you're doing, whether it's you're an entrepreneur or whether you're an artist, musician, a doctor, or whatever, like you identify very much so with the craft, like you attach your identity to that thing, like, oh, this is who I am, right? And you build your whole sense of self, around that thing. And when that thing is taken away from you, you're left quite vulnerable, right? You're like, oh man, like, because a big part of your identity has been stripped from you and stuff like that. So those are the dangers of like identifying too closely with your chosen profession, right? Because we just here, I mean, as creatures, we all serve a higher purpose, right? We are all here to serve a higher purpose. It's just the distance or the displacement between your purpose and real life, the woes of life, the temptations, the distractions, the sins we do on a daily basis. Come on, guys, let's be real. We all jack off. We, we become envious. We do all of these nasty things. Well, not all of us, but like a lot of us do. A lot of us have sins that are separating us away from God, which is the whole function and the primary purpose of sin is to separate us from God. That's the purpose of sin, right? And the thing is, we love sin. We love it so much. When we wake up thinking about it. We wake up, it's very human. It's very etched deep in our nature, right? So that's why they say you cannot overcome this by your own strength. You can overcome it by God, you know? But yeah, so perhaps you could argue that God put me on a path to discover this book on the war of art, right? And I read a review. It was reviewed relatively higher than some of the books that I've read in the past, like the 48 Laws of Power. Everyone has read that. Think and Grow Rich, even more people have read that. But this one, it's kind of low key. It's quite popular amongst the people who really are serious about it. So that's why I took it seriously as well. And to understand that, okay, listen, what is it? What is it that I'm resisting? So I found myself asking this question ever since I was reading this book. I was like, what is it that I'm resisting in my life? What is it that I'm resisting? And I realized like self-sabotage is also a form of resistance. Like I remember I had a crush, well I still do have a crush on this other girl, and like when I would walk up to her, or like when I would like see her, encounter her and stuff like that, it's almost like I would do everything in my power to sabotage myself from having a conversation with her and making it work. It's like I would do everything and everything. And I saw that pattern repeat over my life, feelings of unworthiness. Guys, sometimes I ain't gonna lie, it feels like I'm the only one who feels unworthy. It feels like I'm the only one who struggles with these feelings of like feeling like I'm not good enough, or this thing is like it feels like I'm the only one, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And I look around, I do kind of have this part of myself. I feel like, damn, I feel like I'm not good enough. You know what I'm saying? And when I say it like that, I guess people, it kind of makes you feel like, no, it's just seeking attention. It's just trying so and so and so and so and so forth. And yeah, it's feelings of unworthiness, man. The feelings of unworthiness, it's not a nice place to be in, and stuff. But that is actually a form of resistance as well. So that's how it attacks. It says, okay, listen, you're good enough. Oh, listen, you think you can be that big? Do you think you can do it like that? That voice in our head that always tells us and stuff like that, right? But yes, the author likely does give us some sort of framework, right? I mean, today I used it, but I don't know how effective it was. But yes, it did keep me away from, jacking off or stuff like that. I did take a nap, but I did like decent work. I followed up with my clients. I outreached new clients. I did a little bit of yoga in the morning. I prayed, and I didn't do much push-ups. I can still do later on today. like it's only 2 o'clock. And plus, I woke up early. I woke up like real early. I don't usually wake up early as of late. Like I woke up at like 6 a.m. So that was great. So I guess it has done little changes and stuff like that. But the author does give us guidance in terms of like how you can combat this. And he says you can combat this by being a pro. You already know what you have to do, guys, right? There's this thing in front of you, right? Minus the distractions. I'm serious, especially in our industry with entrepreneurs, right? You get like I have an influencer marketing agency, but every now and then I see an offer with from job shipping. I see an offer from SMMAs. I see an offer from crypto. I see an offer from AI, what AI chatbots or AI build and release AI things. You see all of these offers, which all, I mean, are great opportunities, I'm sure. But obviously, to you as an individual, you know which one is for you. You know which one you gotta lock into. You know what I mean? And everything else immediately becomes a distraction, right? So you just focus on that one thing. So I chose to focus on my agency. I guess that did kind of help me, like channel my energy and stuff like that, right? Yes. So where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. But this is why I'm cooked. I'm so cooked, guys. I'm so cooked. But yeah, it's focusing. It gives us a framework on on how to combat these things. So resistance comes in the form of that. It comes in the form of many distractions. It comes in the form of lust. That's resistance, right? You're trying to achieve something important, something your life's calling, you're teaching. Even in the Bible, it says, the straight and narrow path, the path or the plan that God has in store for you, right? And lust comes in there to like sort of like pull you all of that. So guys, we can never ever defeat lust, right? We can never ever defeat lust. And it bothers me when I hear that too, though. It does kind of bother me because a lot of people say you can't defeat it. Yeah, you can defeat it, but that's not also a license to just, you like just give yourself away to it. No, right? You can't defeat it. At some point, it's going to have to happen. But as much as you can, you have to ask yourself, what could, because listen, like, every time something like that, it's designed to take you away from your purpose. It's designed to take you away from God. It's designed to separate you from God, right? So if and by understanding this, right? So ask yourself next time might be, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing, guys? Because it's like, yeah, this is clicking to me now as I'm explaining it to you guys. This is why I say teach, guys. Teach each other. Teach each other. It's very important. Because, like, if you think about this thing, really, bro, if you tell yourself, okay, listen, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to jack off. I'm not going to watch porn by itself. But you doing that, but who are you turning to, right? So the Bible encourages us to turn to God, right? Because you cannot defeat on your own, right? And yes, turn to God, but also remember what it's designed to do. Is designed to separate you from your purpose. And then ask yourself, what is in my purpose? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing with my life? What is it that's important now that will literally help me and benefit those around you? Because at the end of the day, your success is not just your success. Your success is your friend's success. Your success is your family's success, bro. Your success is a random stranger, who's been through something similar to you and stuff like that. So you become the light in the world. You become a light because your success helps other people succeed. Those who listen and obviously take action in those things. So I think that is a good way to like really combat loss. But what I was asking myself today, we'll see tomorrow. I mean, I'm likely to fail again, but I'm likely to like watch porn again or like jack off again and stuff like that. I think it's just the excessivity of it all that really fucks with us because I generally believe it has really, like my thinking capacity, it really has, it really has, like, it has, I'm dumb as hell now. Compared to when I was younger, I'm dumb. Compared to when I was younger, like, I am dumb now, guys. I'm dumb, 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 dumb. Definitely does reduce your focusing capacity and your your reasoning capacity as well. So yeah, it does. So it really destroys a lot of things, guys. But I didn't want this to be a talk about lust. You can see a ton of videos on that. Let's be honest, we're probably gonna do it again anyway. So I don't want to get too deep into that. I don't want to be nah. I'm not gonna get too deep into that. But yeah, entrepreneurship. This is great. So I've found some success. I've gotten paid for some campaigns. Not a lot. Probably like for me, a little under $1,000, if not $1,000 on the dot that I've made so far. I mean, I'm not paying for rent. I'm living at my parents' crib, so I bought myself a phone and I bought myself a console, an old one, and I just my first purchase and stuff like that. And yeah, stuff to keep me entertained a little bit. But yeah, I like the idea that it is going somewhere. It's very, very steady, very slow. Also, I'm very excited to share. Oh, there's just nobody here, man. It's kind of weird to be talking and there's like nobody there. I got 10 subscribers. Where are they? Because if I was talking like 10 people, I'll feel a whole lot better. But there's nobody on this thing, bro. There's nobody on this thing. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, so I'm working on a campaign for one of my clients called Envato AI. You're probably seeing that if you're on Instagram a lot. If you're on Instagram, you probably came across Envato. And Envato is basically a company for creators, filmmakers, designers, business owners who need like videos to be generated for them. And they also have a new feature now, which is AI based, where you can just generate a video, like these comedic videos you see of like talking Yetis or like these real sarcastic aliens and stuff like that. So it's really cool. I like that. I like the brand itself, like in terms of like what they do. I enjoy it. Um, yeah, it's great. So I'm starting a campaign for them on WAP, and want to see how it goes. We're running a test for $500, and as an affiliate, I mean, signing up people that could pay handsomely, and that would mean that I would be making like five, maybe 10 grand a month at some point. I'm hoping for five, man. I'm hoping for five. With this test campaign, I might make like $100 to $200 from affiliates. If the right content is posted and it performs, I might make like, yeah, I might make like, yeah, like $20 if I'm lucky, like $100 if I'm lucky. Yeah, with that one and stuff like that. That is just a test from affiliates, right? And if they like it and they see the content is performing and it's getting them the results and they're getting them the subscriptions, then you can steadily increase the budget from like $1,000 to like $5,000, and then perhaps, yeah, just like that with my affiliate, yeah, like we make money. So that's the thing. I'm positioning myself as a boss. So the book The War of Art essentially tells us that we should think of ourselves as businesses, guys, as businesses. You know what I'm saying? Because the creative in you, the freelancer in you, wants to do everything, but the boss in you needs to hold yourself accountable. You know what I mean? Needs to separate things to be like, this is for the business, this is for me. You know, this is for the business, and this is for me. So you gotta separate yourself from your craft in terms of like, yes, pour your heart into it and do the work that you're supposed to do, and you should be fine. It should be fine. So this other thing that the author delves into the book, he's like, when you start to sit down and actually do the work that you're supposed to do, actually do the stuff that you're supposed to do, something really cool happens. From like the universe, depending on what you believe in. I'm a Christian, so I'm gonna say they're angels, right? Because let's say demonic spirits are there around, they can pull you down. And some people argue you can be like King Solomon about it. You can make them work for you, which is what Andrew Tate always says in his things. You got to make these demons work for you. And I completely get that too. But in this book in particular, they're saying that once you just sit down and do the work that you're supposed to do, then certain things come to your aid. Certain like angels, if you will, come to aid, depending on what you believe in, right? Of course, some people will be like entities or goddesses, but angels do come. Izithunywa in Xhosa guy, izithunywa ziyafika. So those things, they come to your assistance, they come to your aid, bro. They come to aid you, right? As you're locking in, and then now the creativity kicks in, right? Because creativity comes from God, it doesn't come from within. That's why if you have any form of creativity, right? That's why people say that artists. So the author says is that artists are humble, right? Because artists realize that whatever that they're doing does not come from them; it comes from above, or from angels, or from a higher source. They realize it's not really their own doing; it's just them just surrendering to what the calling is trying to say. So it's an act of surrender to a higher thing, right? But that only happens if you decide, to fight the resistance, because you have to fight the resistance, right? The resistance with the capital R, because its aim is to take you away from that. Its aim is to take you away from God. Its aim is to take you away from what you're supposed to be doing. Its aim is to cast so much self-doubt in yourself that you don't even begin. Trust me, guys, I know about self-doubt. Bro, I know. So that's the aim. Its aim is just to make you doubt yourself at a crazy level, bro. To doubt yourself so much that you don't even begin. So you self sabotage, you self implode, you self destruct before you even do anything. That's the primary goal of that resistance. So what you got to do is not let that resistance win. You know, stop resisting. God, resist the resistance. Resist. Don't give in to it. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird now that I'm explaining it and stuff like that. But because if you think about it, if the resistance primary function is to get you to fail, to drop below it, to deplete your self worth, to deplete who you are, your identity as a person, to make you feel like you're not worthy, or to keep you in a state of, or a lower vibrational state, is to keep you there at that state where nothing happens for you. You know what I mean? And people, and you're like, you're just this thing, you're just this loose thing going across the world. You know what I mean? If that's its primary function, you have to fight it, right? You have to fight it. You know what I mean? Because you have to take the action. You have to take this fight. You know what I mean? You have to see it. So it's knowing the enemy is the first thing when it comes to war, right? I mean, I've watched and seen a lot of these war themed books, like The Art of War itself, not the War of Art, the one I'm talking about right now. So The Art of War, all of these books, they talk about it. The same thing. Know your enemy, bro. Know your enemy and know yourself, right? So if you know the enemy, you know how it operates. It does kind of give you some sort of like, okay, I do have a fighting chance here. I can emerge victorious here somewhere because I know where it attacks me. Okay, cool. They attacks me with lust, attacks me with like constantly thinking about lust, or constantly thinking about the past, or things that I cannot control, or the future, projecting into the future. Keeps me distracted from what really needs to happen. And the best way to combat it, guys, we must become professionals. We must become G's, niggas with triggers. We must become fucking G's, man. Honestly. We should not like high value men, G's. That's who we should become. Because like anything else than that, it'll be easier for that thing to attack you, right? Because you're gonna stay in that fucking bed. You're not gonna get anything done, bro. You're not gonna get anything done. So in order to get anything done in your life and to focus on what matters, it takes a lot of willpower. It takes some sort of willpower, right? Yes, guys, we believe in God. I believe in God, but it does take there's a human requirement when it comes to success. There's a certain amount of action and effort you're gonna have to put in order to make this thing work. I understand that completely, bro. Without action, none of this would have happened. Sometimes, like I listen to guys like Andrew Tate, right? And I listen to these guys, and they obviously have very how can I say, controversial ideas. A lot of them are true for me, like, and I enjoy his stuff. If you listen to guys like that, sometimes I do it that like, because like my body still resists. It's like my mind still resists that thing. It's like I'm resistant to it. You know what I mean? Like, and I always ask myself when I listen to this guy, why am I so resistant to this thing, bro? When I know what he's saying is true, when I know what he's saying is works, and I've seen it work for my life. Because the moment I started listening to guys like that, like literally listening and actually implementing it, things started to happen. Like with clients, I worked harder. I mean, like I was more proud of myself, especially when the money starts rolling in. So here's the crazy thing, right? When you don't see any results, when you don't get any money, it's like it's harder, right? But when the money starts, when you start seeing a little bit of money and stuff like that, you're like, oh, yeah, okay. So it makes sense, like why I would do this thing. And you feel proud of yourself and you feel more in charge and stuff like that. So it's a good thing. But there's still a part of myself or part of yourself that's still in doubt and still resistant, right? And I find this within myself as well. Like there's certain things I'm resistant to, right? And I'm pushing them away. These things that I think are not good for me or evil, because this is how it's portrayed in society and stuff like that, right? But like, it's like what you need is really what you need, and you just need to internalize it and realize, okay, cool, this is life, man. This is what it takes. So I'm making Andrew Tatum as an example because I can draw parallels to what he talks about. I can draw parallels to the book, the War of Art. I can draw parallels to because it says basically, man, in the world you must be a professional in order to overcome that resistance that pulls you down from anything worth achieving. So anything that's worthwhile, anything that is worth achieving, anything in your life that is of a higher cause, whether it's charity, whether it's helping people, whether it's advising people, everything that is like of a higher order of like good, of like serving God and stuff like that. The higher the cause or the good is, the stronger the resistance, right? The stronger the resistance. And how do you counter that resistance? You counter that resistance by being a professional. Professional in what respect? A professional, right? So an amateur will show up on Saturday, or because I was an amateur as well, you'll show up, you'll watch an Andrew Tate video, you crush it, you do it, you do it for the first day, do it for the second day, and then the third day, you're like, I don't really want it. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, whatever. You don't do it anymore. But a professional shows up every day, no matter what. First of all, they show up every day, and then they show up every day no matter what, and they treat whatever it is that they're doing like a real job. Because remember, this is for artists, right? Artists at most tend to be quite freelancers as well. They tend to be quite self-sufficient people and stuff like that. But because of all of that freedom, there's a really cool quote from Spider-Man called, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Because you have all of this power in your hands, now you have to like have a lot of responsibility. So you have to hold yourself accountable, right? So this thing that you're doing, you gotta treat it like a job because that's what professionals do. They treat it like a job. Because even when I found this, because even now, okay, like I'll be honest, guys, I probably work at best these days, like maybe 3 hours and stuff like that. I'm not the best example of this. I'm working on it, but I work I try to every day. Every day I do it. I do work. The only time I don't really do it or don't really pay attention to it is when it's like on a Sunday, or no, on Sundays sometimes I do a bit of work. On a Saturday where people are just definitely not working on that day, then I know it's like, okay, what's the point? I can still prep, I can still record myself or do these things, or like, work on my channels and stuff like that, anything else on the side. Simply because I cannot work on my business on a Saturday. Right? Simply because and stuff like that. But you gotta treat it like a job. Because if you're working at a job right now, your boss will be like, listen, you gotta be at 8:30. If you're not here at 8:30, you're fucking fired. What would you do? You'd be there at 8:30. Even if you were there at 8:45, you come there running, right? And then you work the whole day. And we should demand the same from ourselves, as if we have a boss, especially when your own boss. You should demand that level of hard work for yourself and demand it to be like, listen, at 8:30, I gotta wake the fuck up. At 8:30, I gotta wake the fuck up and I gotta work throughout. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically where I'm trying to get to. Because when I get there, when I take it that seriously, I know like the amount of money that I'll make is like crazy. I know that the amount of money I'll make is out of this world. It's out of this world. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I would make like a decent amount, way above the average person amount, right? Like really, like a lot of money, way above the average person and stuff like that. And let's think about it. You see, like these entrepreneurs online, how much they're making, like 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month. They've been making those kind of numbers and stuff like that. And if you look at those numbers, bro, 10K, 20K, 30K a month in South Africa, that's like 30K a month is like 300, like 400 and like 450,000 rand in a single month, and all you had to do was type on a laptop. There are people out there who studied for 7 years to be making that kind of money. There are people out there who grinded, bro. Like, so it's like it's really is an honor and a privilege. You know what I mean? And to me, it's never always been about, because there are people out there, bro, who are doctors, even entrepreneurs who make way more money than me, and probably will make more money than me and stuff like that, right? But this is how I want to make the money, man. I don't really care, because I know I can work a job, man. I can work a sales job. If I was really interested in that, I could work a sales job, and I'd already be making like 10 or 20K if I found like the right position, selling the right stuff and stuff like that. I'll be making a lot. If this was the 80s or the 90s, getting a sales job was probably something I would have done, because we wouldn't have had the internet back then and stuff like that. But because now we have this opportunity over here, I would much rather do this and stuff like that. So to me, it's like, would you pay me if you told me, I don't know, if you told me, like, yeah, if you told me like, okay, go wash cars, all right, and I'm gonna pay you $1,000 a day, I would wash cars. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. If you told me that if I wash cars and I make $30,000 a day, then I would wash the cars and stuff like that. The problem is the compensation is low. It is low. The compensation is extremely low. Even working at a restaurant, you know what I mean? And that one you could argue, yes, it's up to you, because how hard you work is how hard you get paid. And that's always the allure with these things. It's like, it's up to you guys, right? Even with the older sales job, it's like, guys, it's up to you, you know? You can make 100K, 100 Rand a day. You can make 500 a day. You can make 1,000 a day. And yeah, it is true. These guys, some of these cats making 1,000 Rand a day. That's a lot of money. 1,000 Rand a day is a decent amount of money. If you work, if you do that for a week, that's 5,000 a week. You do that for 2 weeks, 10, 15, you can make plus 20K. And they probably are. They probably making those kind of monies. They're probably making like in the 40s and the 50s and stuff like that. But to me, it's also like, how? It's the how for me. Anyway, I digress. There's nobody here, but I'm hoping the stream gets somewhere at some point. So I can share my screen here. Yeah. I want to see this channel become something. And every now and then I'll stream on these channels and stuff. I want to see them become something, become something. But I do want to curate my content. I just don't want to be talking about anything and everything. I do kind of just want to curate it for like entrepreneurs, you know. Yeah, I think I'd rather just keep it like that instead of trying to take over the internet by storm by random things. No, bro. Nah, bro. I think it's better if I just, yeah. Anyway, shout out. I just wanted to test out this platform on the stream. And yeah, over the time, I hope I just get some more viewers, man. Like, cause wow, there's literally nobody on here with me. But I'll just keep pretending like there are people watching, and trust that at the right time, people will come and watch my shit at the right time. I refuse to let the resistance win. It's difficult, but it always seems impossible until it's done. And with that being said, I'm gonna sign out. Peace.